Hey kids, how are you?
Hi, Mr. Fox. We're great. Feeling awesome.
Today is going to be a fantastic day.
Oh, Mr. Fox, yesterday I was watching a show about animals with superpowers, and I was wondering, could I ever have these powers?
Some are born with these special powers, Giselle. It's a gift, but you should remember that everyone is special in their own way.
Like you, Mr. Fox? You're famous for your problem-solving and fascinating storytelling.
Thank you, Jumbo.
Well, my grandpa used to loosen his muscles and pass under any door. Wow!
That's an amazing superpower. Hey, wait! Today's story is going to be all about superpowers.
Really? What is it called?
It's called Messages of the Sea.
Does the sea write messages?
The sea is full of secrets, Jumbo. Let's begin our story and see. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a rabbit with a golden tooth. If you come close and look into its golden shine, you could see the future way ahead of time. There was also a camel with radar ears. They always detected anything valuable or any metal gear. He often used them to look for treasure, and that, my friends, was his greatest pleasure. Some of you might say that there is nothing better than having these two work together. But unfortunately, neither of them knew who the other was or what wonders he could do. But the sea saw what was true.
Oh, hey, Dorothy. We're having a party. You should come. Really? When? You're actually coming? Maybe we should cancel it, Shelley. So lame. Oh, when will I be responsible for the messages instead of this lame Dorothy?
You mean when will I be responsible? I'll be the one replacing her, Drew, right?
That's what I meant. You, of course.
I'm so stupid. Why do I believe them every time? Don't I ever learn? Huh? Mr. Fangs! Mr. Fangs!
Oh? You! How dare you address me so casually like that?
I didn't. I said Mr. Fangs.
Well then, how did you know my name?
I heard you talking on the phone saying that your name is Fangs.
Ah, okay. So, what is it you want?
Huh? A deal. We'll make a deal. Can we?
How adorable! Unfortunately, I don't have time to make a deal with you.
Adorable? No, Mr. Fangs. I know you come here every day hoping to find the messages of the sea. But you never found one, right?
How did you know?
I heard you talking on the phone.
So you've been watching me.
No, I haven't. I promise I didn't. I was just waiting for a chance to talk to you about the secret messages.
The messages? The weather looks nice today, and I might have some time. How about we eat lunch together?
Okay. I want tuna. There's a place nearby. Follow me.
Are you looking for something, Lady Sue?
Yes, I'm looking for Dorothy. Have you seen her?
She was here a while ago. I'll go find her.
Don't be late. The minute you find her, bring her back immediately.
Okay.
Why aren't you eating, Dorothy? It's delicious.
I don't think you noticed, Mr. Fangs. You ate your food and mine.
Ha! So what kind of a deal do you want to make with me?
You'll teach me something I need, and I'll give you what you're looking for.
You mean the messages of the sea, right?
Exactly. And you'll teach me to be mean.
Be mean? And why would you want to be mean, little one?
Everyone thinks I'm a pushover. I want to become stronger. I am responsible for these secret messages after all. So, what do you say?
And what if someone found out that you gave me the messages?
That can't happen. They'll lock me up.
No, that's too dangerous. I can't accept.
Don't worry. No one will know about it. Unless one of us betrays the other. And neither of us will. Because then you won't benefit either.
Ah, of course not. It will stay our secret. I'll never put you in danger.
So we have a deal?
Just give me some time to think. How can I take the messages and get rid of her? I have neither the time nor the energy to teach her. Ah, that's it. That way I'll get exactly what I want. Okay then, it's a deal. But I need to check my schedule first to decide when I can teach you.
Great! And here is today's message.
And with that, our story will stop for today, kids. Now Fangs took the first message of the sea.
But that's not right. Yes, Dorothy made a mistake because she's kind.
No, Jumbo. I'm kind too, but I'd never make that mistake.
Listen, kids, Dorothy did that because she thought that being kind was a bad thing. That's why she wanted to be mean. And that was a mistake. She should have trusted her kind heart. She would have seen that the others are only annoying her because they're jealous, not because she was kind or weak.
But sometimes being jealous is a good thing. It makes us try our best to become better.
That's true, Giselle, but only if you don't annoy others or bother them.
But how, Mr. Fox?
Let me explain. If being jealous makes you hurt others or annoy them, then it's completely unacceptable. But if you don't hurt anyone and just try your best in everything you do, only then you are on the right track.
Oh.
So that's why Fangs could deceive Dorothy so easily.
Yes, and we will know more about it next time. So don't be late.
One stormy winter night, when most of the animals stayed warm in their beds and turned off the lights. There was thunder, there was lightning, and Woody the Woodpecker found it frightening. He knew he was in trouble, for his house will soon become rubble.
Oh no! What am I going to do? I better go to Mr. Fox before things get worse.
With a nice cup of hot chocolate, Mr. Fox continued reading his book when the doorbell rang. It was winter. No one would walk in the rain unless they had a complaint.
Woody, what are you doing walking around in such cold weather? Hurry, come in.
Mr. Fox, I know it's cold. And I'm sure my problems will make you feel bored. But I need your help.
Of course. Don't worry. Have a seat, Woody, and I'll get you a hot drink. It must have been terrible to go out in that storm.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fox.
So, what exactly is your problem?
My roof, it gets ruined by the rain.
Oh,
I keep fixing it every now and then. But now, every winter is a nightmare.
Here you go, Woody.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
So tell me, what happened to your roof?
The rain makes it damp. Sometimes I fear it gets too damp. It might fall.
Oh, you're right. That's a serious problem.
Well, will you help me?
Mr. Fox knew he couldn't stop the rain, but he couldn't let Woody's efforts be in vain. There had to be another way.
I have an idea. We need to guide the water off your roof.
But how can we do that?
Well, we need to visit the jungle shop. But first, we'll wait for the storm to pass.
Finally, the storm faded away, revealing a bright, warm, sunny day.
I think the weather is better now.
Let's go, Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox and Woody hopped into the car, and off they drove to the jungle shop.
So, what will we buy from here, Mr. Fox?
A sloped roof.
A roof? But how will we transport it?
Oh, don't worry. There's a new type of roof. They sell them like, pieces of a puzzle.
Oh, that's smart!
Yep.
Mr. Fox and Woody chose a nice big red roof. Then, off they went to Woody's house. Mr. Fox got a ladder and climbed up. He started to fix the roof from the top.
Now, all we need is to put the pieces together. All done. I'm coming down.
Wow, it looks great!
That way, all the water will slide down and the rain won't bother you again.
So, does that mean no more rainwater will enter my house, Mr. Fox?
Of course not. I guarantee it.
Oh, I'm so happy! Thank you so much, Mr. Fox.
Oh, it was nothing. We all like living in a dry, warm place in the winter.
Woody thanked Mr. Fox, for now he could enjoy the warmth and comfort of his house. One beautiful spring morning, though tired and sleepy, Mrs. Sharpie the post owl was on her way to Alfie's house to deliver a parcel.
This is Alfie. Who is it?
It's Chip, Alfie. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great! I sent you the new sheet music, which you have to rehearse.
Of course. I will as soon as it arrives.
As soon as Alfie hung up the phone, he heard a knock on the door. Good morning, Mr. Alfie. I have a parcel for you from Mr. Chip.
Oh, thanks, Sharpie. I better start.
Alfie took the parcel and got out the sheets. And then he went off to practice. Alfie the sea elephant was relaxing on the seashore, for it was his favorite place to be. He loved playing his violin, but suddenly the strings became so thin. And as he gave it a hard play, the strings snapped. and Alfie's face turned pale gray.
Huh? Oh no! Not my violin! It's my one and only hobby! What shall I do? Oh, I know! I must go to Mr. Fox!
Alfie walked towards Mr. Fox's place, hoping that he could help and solve his case.
I wonder who? Alfie, our star musician. Welcome. Come on in.
Thank you, Mr. Fox!
Have a seat. Would you like some lemonade?
Yes, please, Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox came back with a glass of lemonade. He gave it to Alfie, then he noticed his violin.
Oh, what happened to your violin?
I was playing by the seaside and suddenly the string snapped. What do you think I should do?
Well, we can simply buy some new strings and change them.
I already bought them, but I don't know how to change them. It's my first time.
No problem. It's easy. Now let me teach you how to replace them. First, we remove the old string by twisting this till it's loose. Then, we pull the broken string out of its hole. After that, we twist the tuning peg on the other end and pull the other end of the string from its hole as well. See? Now the whole string is out. We insert the thin end of the new string into the hole of the tuning peg. Then, bend the string around the hole like that and fix its other end into the other hole. And there's the other string as well.
Finally!
Go ahead and play it.
Okay.
With his violin finally fixed, Alfie walked out the door. He went back to play on his favorite seashore. It was a bright sunny day, and 3 of our young friends were preparing for a trip.
Come on, Poe! We're gonna be late! Just a second, guys. What's taking him so long? All set. This is it, guys. I thought it'd be cool to go sailing for a change. Then let's go!
And so, without further delay, the 3 friends set off, walking side by side and looking forward to a brand new adventure.
Poe,
This is really cool. Come on, Po. I'm already excited.
The three friends got on board, and Po tried to start the boat. But something was wrong. No matter how hard he tried, the boat wouldn't start.
Something's wrong. What's wrong, Po? It's not working? But I was so looking forward to this sea trip. I think we need help. I know. Mr. Fox. Wait here, guys. I'll quickly fly over and ask him for help.
With that said, Po quickly flew over to Mr. Fox's house to ask him for help. Meanwhile, Mr. Fox was doing his daily exercises.
Huh? Oh, hello, Po. A beautiful morning, isn't it?
Hello, Mr. Fox. I kinda need your help. You see, my friends and I wanted to sail and enjoy the view, but the yacht wouldn't start. And the only one to help me is you.
Oh, my. What happened?
I have no clue. If you can come with me, I'll show it to you.
Wait here for a moment, please.
Mr. Fox set off in his car with Po beside him. After hearing about his problem, he was eager to help his young friend. It was indeed a long way to the coast, but that didn't matter. Mr. Fox was determined to solve this problem.
Good morning. Bingo, Roo, how are you?
We're good, Mr. Fox.
Well, we need to define the problem first. Working? No problem. Oh, these need to be changed. Good. Aha! Only one thing is left unchecked. The battery.
Oh! Yeah! Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Fox. It's finally working.
Don't mention it, Mr. Poe. Have a wonderful day.
Wait, Mr. Fox. Why don't you come with us? I guarantee it's gonna be loads of fun. Come on, Mr. Fox.
Sounds like fun.
And with that, the four of them set off into the horizon, finally starting their adventure.
What a beautiful morning! Mr. Falcon should have been here by now. He was supposed to get me some sugar candies from the other side of the river. I can't cross that river on my own. I can't swim. I'd better go to Mr. Fox. He'll tell me what to do.
And since Mr. Fox helped many more, she went to him and knocked on his door.
Who's there?
Over here, Mr. Fox.
Oh, little Auntie Lou. Welcome. Please come in.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
What can I do for you?
Mr. Fox, my problem might seem small, and I know how busy you are, but
Don't worry, Auntie Lou. Whatever it is, we'll find a solution. Tell me, what's bothering you?
sugar candies.
Sugar candies? But you love them.
Yes, Mr. Fox, I do. That's the problem. The only place I can find them is by the other end of the river side, and I don't know how to swim.
Well, how did you get them before?
I had some friends who would cross the river and bring me some candies with them. But I can't wait for them to go every time. I want to be able to get them myself.
I see. So you want a way to cross that river by yourself.
Yes.
Do you want to learn how to swim?
Impossible. I'm so afraid of the water. It's my worst nightmare. Isn't there any other way, Mr. Fox?
Sure there is. Let me think.
Mr. Fox thought quickly and without delay, for there was already another way. He'll build a bridge for Auntie Lou, so she could cross whenever she wanted to.
Little Auntie Lou, how wide is that river?
Very wide, Mr. Fox.
It won't be easy, but let's go.
Into the workshop ran Mr. Fox. He grabbed some wood and his toolbox. He put them in his Jeep and hopped inside. Then he and Auntie Lou went for a ride.
Little Auntie Lou, that's not a very wide river.
But it is to me, Mr. Fox. You're only saying that because you're too big.
Maybe you're right. Little Auntie Lou, let's get started. Finally, the bridge is complete.
Mr. Fox, that's exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much. I'd better be on my way to collect the sugar candies. I've always dreamed of this.
Enjoy the candy, little Auntie Lou.
After giving his friend a happy end to the day, Mr. Fox took his car and carefully drove away. Beatrice was a little energetic bee. She wakes up early, eats her breakfast, and checks on her honey. Then she goes out to collect some nectar.
That smells great. I'll take some from here. Wow, that looks fresh. Here's my favorite type.
And so, she went collecting all the nectar she needed, and when she was all done, she went back home. But as Beatrice came closer and closer, she could see that someone had been to the hive.
Oh no! My honey! It's all gone! Who could have done this?
Beatrice looked right and left, but no one was there. Sadly weeping with grief, she went to the place where she might find relief.
Oh, Beatrice, how have you been?
Mr. Fox!
Beatrice, what happened?
Someone stole my honey and destroyed my hive.
Who would do such a horrible thing?
I have no idea. I was out collecting nectar, and when I came back, I found...
Calm down now, calm down.
I don't know what I should do.
Mr. Fox felt sorry for Beatrice. He kept thinking of a way to prevent this from happening again.
Aha! I got it!
You know who did this?
No, but I can prevent this from happening again.
Really?
Really? Come with me.
At once, Mr. Fox ran to his workshop. He grabbed some steel, some wooden plates, and his toolbox. He then hopped into his car with Beatrice by his side and drove away.
Oh,
See? I told you. It's a complete disaster.
you were right. But don't worry, everything will be okay now.
Mr. Fox started to work. He got the wooden plates and built a box out of them, which he put on the tree branch. Then, he surrounded the box with steel. He made sure the nails went in properly and made a door for little Beatrice.
Now, all done.
Wow, it's amazing. Thank you, Mr. Fox.
There, take this too.
And what's this?
This is the key to your hive, so no one would enter without your permission.
Really? Oh, I can't thank you enough.
Don't worry about it, Beatrice.
Here, Mr. Fox, this is for you.
What's this?
It's one of my delicious honey jars. It's the best kind I've got.
Oh, you didn't have to. Well, thank you, Beatrice.
And as Mr. Fox drove away, he thought that this was the perfect end to the day. One day, the mighty eagle flew to his nest. All he wanted to do was rest. He felt bitter, he felt cold. He was really getting old. He knew he needed someplace new. So, off to Mr. Fox he flew.
Oh, hello, Mr. Eagle. You look so tired. Please, come in.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Now tell me, how may I help you?
Mr. Fox, I spent years in prosperity and glory, but I'm old now and tired. I can't live out there alone in that cold weather.
Where do you live, Mr. Eagle?
By the mountain top.
I see. The wind is strong there. I bet you catch a flu every now and then.
Well, I didn't used to, but that's all in the past. Now I'm old and weary,
I'm not what I used to be. Plus, I get so lonely up there. There is no one around to talk to, and no one to help me get better if I get sick.
Why don't you come and live with us in the jungle?
I looked around, but I couldn't find the right place for my huge nest. I'm too old to build a new one, and I can't really stay in someone's home.
Mr. Fox kept thinking for a while. What could he do to help his dear old friend?
I got it! I think I can help you build a new house. Have no worries.
Mr. Fox quickly grabbed his toolbox and hopped into his car. He drove through the jungle while Mr. Eagle flew above him. He stopped in front of a tree that looked both old and firm, right in the middle of the jungle. Lots of animals and birds lived around here.
What a beautiful place, Mr. Fox.
Wait till you see what I have in mind for you.
Mr. Fox started to work. He put a ladder against the tree and counted the steps up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
When he reached the tree branches, he opened his toolbox and took out some wooden plates. Then he started putting them together.
All I need now is some nails to make sure everything would be A-OK. We're almost done, Mr. Eagle.
Can't wait to see what it will look like, Mr. Fox. Oh my! What a wonderful treehouse!
And it's all yours, Mr. Eagle.
My own home. I can't believe it. Thank you so much, Mr. Fox.
You're most welcome.
As Mr. Eagle got inside his new house and closed the door, he felt a happiness like never before. He knew Mr. Fox's idea was truly the best, for there was comfort, there was warmth. He felt really blessed. It was a beautiful spring morning. The sun was shining brightly. The sound of the birds woke Mr. Fox up. He changed his shirt, put on his tie, and his vest. Then he drank his tea. It was delicious. After reading a shop manager ad, he got into his car and drove off. Meanwhile, little Bingo Monkey was riding his bike through the jungle. He was having loads of fun, but suddenly the bike slipped and little Bingo fell off.
Are you okay, Bingo? Hang on, I'm coming.
Yes, Mr. Fox, but my bike isn't.
Oh, it looks like there's a problem with the tire. Don't worry, Bingo. I'm going to help you. Bingo, can you help me count how many nails I need?
Of course. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there are 9, Mr. Fox.
Okay, Bingo. Let me count how many I have in my toolbox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll get one more just in case he miscounted. So 9 plus 1. We need 10 nails. That's easy. Okay, Bingo. It's all done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fox. You've helped me a lot.
Come on, give it a go.
So once again, little Bingo rode along happily. It was a bright, early morning. Mr. Fox woke up and went to wash his face. Since he was feeling a little hungry, he went to prepare some breakfast. He prepared fruits, some cheese, a fried egg, and some veggies. He looked around for some bread, but couldn't find any. No problem. He'll go to the bakery and buy some.
I guess I need to buy some bread from Mrs. Flute's bakery. Then I can have my delicious meal. I'm very hungry. I'm sure glad the bakery is close by. I won't be needing my car.
Mr. Fox decided to walk to the bakery. He really enjoyed the early morning breeze. And on his way...
Good morning, Mr. Fox.
Oh, Mr. Falcon! How are you? Are you getting enough sleep?
Yes, I can sleep most anywhere now, and it's all thanks to you, Mr. Fox.
Glad to hear that, my friend. See you around.
When Mr. Fox finally reached Mrs. Flute's bakery, he found a long line of customers. He got in line and patiently waited his turn.
Wow, looks like everyone wants bread.
Slowly, the line was moving up, and Mr. Fox got closer and closer till he finally reached the counter, where a very tired Mrs. Flutes was waiting. He was her last customer.
Hello, Mr. Fox. Here you go.
Hello, Mrs. Flutes. You look really tired.
Yes, Mr. Fox, it's becoming more and more exhausting.
Why?
The number of customers has increased lately after I upgraded both the bakery and the quality of the bread that I produce.
That's great.
I know it's great, Mr. Fox, but the thing is, the rate of bread production is really low. Well, compared to the number of customers, that is.
But why is the rate of production low?
Well, Mr. Fox, grinding the wheat takes loads of time and effort. Sometimes it takes over a day or so. That's basically why everything else gets delayed.
What should we do to solve this problem? Okay, Mrs. Flutes, I will head home now and eat my breakfast, and try to think of a solution. And I'd like you to pass by my house tonight. I'm sure I'd figure something out by then.
Really, Mr. Fox? I can't wait to hear your solution. I'll come by your house as soon as I get off work.
Okay, see you later, Miss Flutes.
See you later, Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox went back home to have his breakfast.
Miss Flute's bakery is truly the best. I have to solve this problem, or she won't be selling any more delicious bread.
With that in mind, Mr. Fox went to his workshop to give it some thought. Finally, he had a great idea.
That was a long day. I should head straight for Mr. Fox. I'm sure he would have solved my problem by now.
That must be Miss Flutes. Hello, Miss Flutes. Come inside.
Hello. Were you able to find a solution to my problem, Mr. Fox?
Well, why don't you try this new invention?
A new invention for me?
That's right. I made it specially for you.
That's wonderful.
It's a grinding machine to help you grind wheat quickly.
Brilliant. But how will it help me?
This machine is used to increase the rate of grinding the wheat, which is used to make the bread. So you can use it to grind a whole kilogram in no more than 5 minutes. And with that, the amount of time needed will decrease, and you won't be too exhausted.
I'm really grateful to you, Mr. Fox. I have no words to express my gratitude.
Friends help each other, Miss Flutes.
You're really kind and generous, Mr. Fox.
I want you to start using this new device tomorrow, and I will call you to check in every once in a while.
Okay, Mr. Fox, I will. I'll be going now. Thank you again.
Goodbye, Miss Flutes, and have a good night.
And so, Mr. Fox waved goodbye to Mrs. Flutes. Then, he sat on his comfortable sofa. He looked out his window and admired the jungle he lived in for so long. He happily thought to himself,
I love helping my friends.
One nice spring night, Mr. Fox was sitting in his balcony, relaxing and drinking his favorite juice, when suddenly the phone rang. He wondered who would be calling him this time of night.
Hello, who is it?
Mr. Fox, it's Rorik.
Your Majesty, how may I help you?
Well, Mr. Fox, I'd like you to come to my house early in the morning to discuss something urgent.
Of course, I'll be there.
After he hung up the phone, Mr. Fox went to sleep. He was supposed to wake up early. He wouldn't want to miss his appointment with the king. Early next morning, Mr. Fox woke up and went to wash his face. After that, he got dressed and was all ready for his appointment with the king. He got into his car and drove off.
Hello, Mr. Fox. One moment, please. Your Majesty, Mr. Fox has just arrived. May he come in?
Of course. Let him in.
Come in, Mr. Fox. His Majesty is waiting for you.
Good morning, Your Majesty. Hope I'm not late.
No. You're always on time. How are you, Mr. Fox?
I'm fine. And how's our little Frisky?
He's fine. A little mischief every now and then. You can never get him to stay in one place. But thanks to your bracelet, we can always find him. Saved us a lot of trouble.
It's my pleasure. So tell me about this urgent matter.
As you know, our jungle's population has been increasing lately.
Indeed, our population has increased.
Yes, but it's getting harder to summon them all to the meeting every time. That's why I called you, Mr. Fox. I need you to figure out a way for me to reach all the animals at the same time.
Let me see. I need to think this through.
That's okay, Mr. Fox. But please, don't take too much time.
Don't you worry, Your Majesty. I will find a solution by tomorrow.
As Mr. Fox got into his car to get back home, he thought all the while about the king's request. How could he help the king with his problem? With everything else Mr. Fox has faced, this might be a slightly bigger challenge for him.
This is more challenging than I thought. Maybe a short break will help.
Mr. Fox went back to his house and sat on his sofa. Since he can't think anymore about the king's request, he thought it would be great just to relax and watch his favorite TV show. Everything was peaceful and quiet. But then suddenly,
I got it!
Mr. Fox rushed back to his workshop. He quickly designed a new device. He carried the new device to his car, and off he went to King Rorik's place.
Mr. Fox, I thought you were coming tomorrow. Did you solve my problem?
Yes, Your Majesty. This is a solution to your problem.
That's great! But what's that, Mr. Fox?
This is a megaphone. I made it specially for you. Every time you need to meet the animals, all you have to do is roar into it.
Mr. Fox, you're a genius!
But be careful. It's powerful. So make sure that no one is around you when you use it.
Of course! I can't thank you enough, Mr. Fox. You're a great asset to all of us.
It's my pleasure, Your Majesty.
Goodbye, Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox got into his car and waved goodbye to the king. He was feeling happy and pleased. The problem was now solved, and he was able to help out a friend once more.